Oh, Matrix, what a shot, maybe
Actually still down. He could get king is on a sliver of HP. His health bar is flashing red for good reason. Because no, there you go, and then
Which versus have they know he's there, but they don't seem to react. Typical finds a double up, no damage there, but no reaction.
Welcome back. We are back and we are about to get underway, but first we have a massive announcement. This isn't from me, this isn't from 1B over here who's hiding his face because he's eating sushi. Yes, I'm calling him out. It is from us here at Talent League. You can see he's just casually laughing down there. He's back. Hi there, 1B. But most important thing, our qualifiers for our Titan series are almost here. Now, you're going to want to mark your calendars. You're going to want to, most importantly, tell just about everybody you know. And most importantly, write it down because the qualifiers start upcoming and up in February because the registration ends on the 30th of January. Most importantly, it costs you 15 euros. For all of you American people, you just can't play. It's a European league. Sorry. But it's going to close on the 30th of January at 11:30 Central European time. They start next Sunday, the 16th of January at 8 p.m. Central. So write those two dates down. One is the starting, one is the ending. The ending's a little bit more important because, well, then after that, you can't sign up. But 1B, I want to cast people in Titan series. So if you are people and you happen to play Rainbow Six Siege, go sign up. I'll cast you.
cannot play.
Yeah, that's my spiel for the day. But 1B, we have map 2. Now, it's Hyferion5 still, a Hyferion5 squad that didn't look as good as they usually do in Oregon. They have to go to Cafe up against LFO, who are looking pretty good on their own map pick, and most importantly, they won their opponent's map pick. After watching Oregon, and after seeing Hyferion5 before on Cafe, or on Oregon, my apologies, do you have an expectation?
If I expected a loss to come in from either one of these teams, I'm expecting it to come in from Hyferion5. I said it, well, basically at the beginning of the stream, that Hyferion5 didn't really look that impressive on Cafe last week, even though like they were like 5-1 down and they managed to win like rounds in the. But after that, it kind of just went downhill, and it was mainly on their defensive side. And Cafe is a very defender-sided map, so for them to look as well, in a more blunt way, to look as weak as they did on their defensive half on Cafe, I mean, if that's how they look on defense on Cafe, their attacks, I don't know if they're starting on attack. They are
Yeah,
starting.
they are.
Okay, so if they are start, if it depends, you know what I mean. But like, it's they didn't look that great on the defensive last week on Cafe on the same map, and on attack it was a little bit questionable. But they start on attack this time, so maybe if they can set the pace for themselves, they could pull something. They can pull in. They can pull in. They can pull their 7th point out of this matchup. But I,
I
I
I
don't
think that's
know.
their goal here. You usually don't start on attack on Cafe unless you're trying to set a tone. But I do believe the teams are ready, and we'll see if this Hyferion5 squad can set a tone early. They will start on the attacking side, and we will head to Cafe, which is, of course, the map pick of LFO, who, again, start on the defensive side this time around. They have that advantage, and they're going to look to do the exact same thing, just on the opposing side of the map. They get to wait for people to walk into the crossfires rather than having to try and set up advanced positions themselves. I got to look at how this Hyferion5 squad played on Oregon. Their attack did not look good. The only 2 sites they won were the exact same site, and then they lost it convincingly the following time. If you're looking at a Hyferion5 win here, they need to get a 3-3 or a 4-2 half on their attacking side. If they don't, I think LFO want to run away with this.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to call because you could predict Hyferion5 to lose this map and somehow they tie and get another point. But I don't know. I don't really see it happening on a map like Cafe. Like I said, I was like I said at the beginning of the stream again, I was surprised that they let this map go and this wasn't the first map because they did not look that great Cafe last week. And I mean, looking at the bans here, I mean, the bans don't really look that different. I was gonna say it looks like they're banning a lot of aggression. You see the Valkyrie get banned, as well as the Nomad get banned. Usually, when a Valkyrie is in play, you see the Nomad come out to stop those runouts and to stop those flanks from coming in because the Valkyrie cameras can provide such intel, uh, with her cameras with her utility and such.
I'm looking at our bans, and I think we really just saw a target ban.
Yep.
That's really all I'm thinking here. The Nomad target ban coming through. That's a massive break to Elegy. I think that's going to make the lives of Hyferion5 just a little bit more difficult. There is still flank watchability. You still have the Jackal availability if you want it. You still have that roam clearance if you want it. But the other reason Hyferion5 banned the Nomad rather than the Flores we saw before is because Stizzy wants to play the Flores. Compared to what we saw with the Maverick before, we will head up to the Fireplace and Mining Room. The second floor is where we will kick things off. The least played of the sites. And I'm talking in all of Cafe. This is the least played site of the 4. This is an interesting decision to open things up here for LFO.
Yeah, I don't really know the plan here for this site. I mean, the thing about this site that I just dislike a lot about it is that there's no tactical advantage for the defense, and that's the thing about Cafe. Cafe is a very defender-sided map. It's very hard to find any tactically disadvantaged sites on this map. But this site obviously has some tactical disadvantage to it because I don't really know what type of mode they're playing here. This site is very small. It can be very small for the defenders to play in. There's not a lot of, well, I would say there's not a lot of flank advantage for the defenders, but there is at the same time. It's not a good site for defense, and I just don't see why they this one first. But it is their team. It is their defensive half, and they're starting with this site, so there's nothing I can say about it.
Norks, this is a creative little bit of a spawn peek. I don't know if you can consider that a spawn peek rather than a I didn't do my homework kind of peek. I don't even know what to call that. But Norks will hold down the top floor. This is usually what you see if somebody's holding the reading site rather than the mining site. But hey, it's your defense. You do you, I suppose. We will see a very, very default setup, though. Very surprising to see a team start on the ceiling or the roof or whatever you call it, go through Red Hatch, and go down from there. It's totally like I called this earlier. It's not surprising. I'm sorry. This is not a map where you're going to see too much of plays out of the blue. Divine's going to start to make their way through this top floor, and now they're going to be smoked off. So back goes the Buck, and forward goes the map control of LFO.
At the moment, okay, well, you see Prophet now upside down. So he's going to get shot at. He looked like he didn't know from where he got shot at first, but he's gonna be able to return some shots, but unfortunately not the same amount of damage that's been done to him. And even if he had, they have Thunderbirds all over the place to help put these defenders back in into their desired health. But unfortunately for the attackers, they don't have any Thunderbirds or dots, and the first player to be picked off is actually going to be Prophet, and it's Strapu again showing off on his SMG-11, able to get the first blood of this map and of this round, making it a 5v4 for this team. And I mean, the push, this seems to have thrown off Hyferion5. It has thrown us off.
I mean, you can't really blame Hyferion5 for being thrown. Prophet has been playing the Polish Sisters basically the entirety of Oregon, and now picking up right where they left off here on Cafe, unfortunately dying starting things off. Zofia the first to fall, but Autumn's planting. I'm sorry? Autumn is getting the diffuser down. Where is this being put down? It's being put down behind that mining side. And LFO, they've dropped the bag. This is a massive advantage now for this Hyferion5 squad, who can repel as they please. Stax has to take control, is not aware of the player on landing, and will die because of it. Askell with one, Divine with another. Askell looking for a second of their own, and will indeed get it. Out goes Struffy, but no, down they go just the same. Jerry in a 1 versus 4 will fall, and Hyferion5 exploiting the lackluster defense coming through from LFO. You were talking about the tactical disadvantages. They pop through right in front, and Hyferion5 take advantage, and most importantly, take round 1.
I mean, they simply found a hole in the defense and exploited the absolute living hell out of it. I mean, come on. I don't know where the defense was in that situation. It seemed like they had it under control up until the point where Autumn started planting in a site where there were no LFO players. And I'm just curious as to where everybody. I just want to know. I just want to know where y'all were. That's all. I don't know. I just don't know where everybody was. They just completely
Not there.
left it open. I mean,
Attackers
that's a bit troubling to see. They're going instead of dining mining, they're going. And I mean, this is a better site for the defense. But if they do the same thing that they did in that last round, it's not going to.
Discover the location of a bomb.
Well, actually, I have to disagree with you there. I think if they do the exact same thing they just did in the last round, it's going to work here, because they don't have to worry about mining. I honestly think they chose the wrong site and didn't realize it. Because of the way they set up, it was not good, to say the least. Stax is going to prep up just about everything possible. We are going to see LG on the Echo, Jerry going to the Mozzie, the first time we're seeing the Australian operator, by the way. Norks, unsurprisingly, on the Aruni, because, you know, it's Aruni, Aruni's cracked, you get the deal. But Strupu now going to the Wamai. This is mainly both for the utility denial and for those proximity mines, where you just put them wherever the heck you please and have instant information if somebody walks into them.
Yeah, I mean, you also have the Echo coming into play as well as the Chewbacca, and I mean, if there's any substitute for Smoke, it has to be Chewbacca. Not that Chewbacca is a suitable replacement for Smoke, because nobody can replace Smoke. Smoke is the best at his job, in my opinion, and in a lot of other people's opinions who watch and play this game at a, well, not a high, I don't even play this game, watch it intensely at a high level. But they brought these two out, and I wonder what their game plan is with the Echo, because Echo is picked on Cafe, but it's not on this side usually. Echo played in kitchen, not really in dining reading, which is curious because there's not a lot of places where you can hide the Echo, apart from where we're seeing it now, but also where you can hide the actual operator itself, you know. And this push coming in from Hyferion5, I don't really know where LG is. The confusing thing about it, oh, LG is just right there. He's in the hall. And there goes Stax to be the first one to be picked and being traded off, you know, Profit being traded off by Nordics. And this round, again, that's the thing about Cafe, right, is that these rounds go by very slowly. So it's hard to really talk about anything apart from the skill between Nordics this time and possibly Struffy being taken out. But no, he's going to be getting a kill onto Divine, and oh my god, just a bunch of kills going in the way of the Strupu able to get 2 kills for himself, and then also I think LG able to get a pick of his own. But now Strupu is down. Shout out, he's probably by Stizzy here, right there. There you go.
Oh no, Stizzy using yet another flashbang on what they thought was going to go into the Surya gate, but it will not. And they're down to 40 seconds. They do not have Diffuser in hand, and I gotta say, most importantly, they don't know where Jerry nor Elegy are. this is not looking like a strong round for Hyferion5. We've seen clutches before from Stizzy. Most importantly, we've seen 1v2s before from Stizzy. But back then, the diffuser was in hand and time was on their side. Final flash will be thrown in. They won't gain any information nor ground because of it. Stizzy continuing to push, now echoed off and now dead. Jerry, with a P10 in hand, will headshot Stizzy 6 feet under and put LFO on the board and tie us right back up.
Better round coming out from LFO there. I mean, said it before, you proved me wrong, really. They did exactly what they did on dining mining, and it works out on dining instead because dining mining gets tight to control. And I don't know, maybe they misclicked it the first time. I doubt it. But that was the site. If they were gonna do what they did the first time on mining dining, then they should have done it first at dining reading instead, because that was a more convincing round coming out for me. And now they get to go to kitchen. And like I said, echo is very prevalent on kitchen on cafe instead of dining reading or dining mining, or well, actually he's pretty good on the third floor side, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, I like the vigil here though. If you play the vigil correctly, you can just hide in a position where players usually run by and or just overlook with a drone, and you have a massive flank possibility. We saw the flank in our previous map close out the map. Stacks with the Jaeger did just that, but it was just with the Jaeger, and there was no real flank drones available, and I think that was the main fault of Hyferion5. It wasn't really the fact that, hey, nobody's sitting there watching it themselves. It's the fact that nobody's droning it and watching it on a drone. You did have 2 dead players available to just scroll through drones, say, hey, here's some information for you, and we didn't see that. Nordics is going to look for a spawn peek here. This is a questionable play, especially after breaking the glass. Information should be there. It is. The peek does come through, but only for a split second. And, well, Nordics now losing that ability. Elegy, not so much. Prophet dies first for the second of 3 rounds, and that's not an opening you're looking for, especially if you're the Zofia.
Yeah, I mean, the Elegy's actually playing this Echo in an interesting way. Usually you see Echo played in a passive position, and he's playing this Echo in a very aggressive manner. You see him, I think he got the kill. Where did he get that kill? Like second?
It had to be out the Christmas window. Or it had to be out the, yeah, there you go.
So he was in a, he put himself in a very, he's putting himself in these very aggressive positions, and it looks like Hyferion5, it looks like Hyferion5 isn't expecting it at all. And I mean, the MP5 has that 1.5 scope, can get away with it, but Stacks cannot get away with that, as he's going to be taken out by a Scale, and a Scale who's going 4-1 at the moment is doing pretty. I don't know how actually in the last. I can't remember because I have the memory of a goldfish. I can't remember a lot of things, but I think he played pretty well. He's playing pretty well at the moment, and it's now an even man count, but both of these teams. Hyferion5 though, with the lack of map control that they do have, it looks like they're moving heavily in this train and mining position. Harry's just in his corner here as a grenade was thrown away, but it's not going to confirm him quite yet. He's going to run out of the way of a Scale, and he's gonna get a kill. Scale's gonna back, and it's now 1:10 left to go for Hyferion5, and they have this map control in their favor. Not really the player on red, but the player on red is just gonna run away, and again they have this map control in their favor.
I've done a quick stat check for you. Askell finished our previous map at 11-9 in the 8-6 loss that they had. Not an awful map, but not a great one either, especially with the amount of rounds played. Looking a little bit better this time around, on track to get like a crap ton of kills, if my math serves me correctly. But it's still the 3 versus 3, and there's still 40 seconds on that clock. Very, very large rooms for error, and there is still a hatch available, and they're pushing from a very one-dimensional side this time around. You can see Nork's holding the long angle. Stop, you miss another Mossberg shot, but this time you hit the second, looking for the second player, but does just finish off Autumn. Looking for the peek back around, does not hit it. It's traded back. Stizzy with one of their own. Aware of the possible flank, but Askell is not, and it's Stizzy in another 1 versus 2 clutch scenario. Elegy is on those drones. The Yokais are so difficult to deal with, especially when you have no idea where that Echo is. 5 seconds on the clock. The push will come through, but it's only a push to your demise. LFO take the lead.
2 rounds in a row for LFO now, and I mean, like you said, it was just a sight. It was just mining and dining. There's a reason why teams go there, and if those 2 rounds from LFO speak volumes, well, you should crank up the volume a little bit more and hear them out, because now they're going to Bar Cocktail and they're gonna look to grab 2 rounds in a row. Hyferion5, they put themselves in these positions where they look to be on par with LFO, but it just doesn't. The round doesn't end in that way for them, and it could. I don't know. It could be. It's down. Yeah, I want to say it's down to their execution. I'm answering my questions myself for some odd reason. It could just be down to their execution and
Attackers
the
need to
lack of
locate and
just
defuse as many bombs
oomph
as they can.
in that execution, where they're not, where even when they're in a position of being on terms with on par with LFO,
Attackers have
it
located a
just
bomb.
doesn't. It ends up in the hands of LFO quite convincingly. I don't really know what they could improve here, other than just, like, I would say click heads, but it's not even just them missing shots, because they're not doing too bad on the scoreboard. You have a scale going 5 and 2, you have Stizzy going 3 and 2, you
10
have
seconds
Divine
remaining.
going 1 and 2, Autumn as well, Prophet going 1 and 3. That's not too bad
5
compared to
seconds
the
left before insertion.
LFO scoreboard, which is not too bad in itself. They're playing
Attackers are moving to defuse the
just
bomb.
as good as each other. It's just that LFO have that bite to them to finish off these rounds, whereas Hyferion5 don't. And that's just the truth of the matter.
I'll stop you right here.
LFO's bringing the clash.
Yeah.
And they're now headed to the top floor. They're looking to complete the rotation in a more unorthodox way compared to what we're used to seeing, heading from the middle floor twice to the bottom floor and then up to the top. When Hyferion5 go to the defensive side, I can almost guarantee you they're going to start with Bar and Cocktail, but that's going to remain to be seen. Nork's looking to establish some more rotate holes, and if Divine peeks over, then you will see that Aruni doing just that, but no peek does come through, and Divine's just trying to not make too much noise. You can see the crouch walking across, and now just looking to create some room on this east wall. I want to see Hyferion5 get a lot more map control before they try and execute this time around. They failed to do that last time, and they failed to keep Prophet alive. Prophet actually completing that task by themselves and taking out Elegy in the process, who has been a pivotal part of our previous 2 rounds just the same. This is a good start and a much better one, to say the least, for Hyferion5, who already have an opener, already have a man advantage, and, most importantly, have Prophet alive and fragging.
Prophet able to get his second kill of the match so far. If they're gonna have any real chance of winning this map and grabbing another tie for themselves, Prophet is going to need to have a big game, as well as Stizzy. Eskel is having a big map so far. He wasn't that great on. Wow, he wasn't that well. Okay, look, 2 kills coming out from LFO. I was gonna sit here and say Eskel wasn't that great on Oregon, but Divine certainly was, as he grabbed a kill. This time making it an even man count, and this is the issue with Hyferion. They get 1 kill, they seemingly get an advantage, and they get pegged like 2 steps backwards. Like, they take 1 step forward, and LFO is able to just like grab the little, you know, the little Jenga block at the Jenga, is it Jenga block at the bottom of the
Jenga.
tower? Well, the block at the bottom of the tower, and they're able to topple it over, bro. I don't know that.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is why we do not let 1B make analogies.
Man,
Yeah.
if they didn't let me make analogies, Yele would say something,
jeez.
but Yele is
jeez.
always no.
we can hear our producer in the background like, yeah, I don't know what's going on here. But Jerry, now with this Clash Shield in hand, it's a little difficult for Jerry to get back into the site and keep off that White Stairs rotation up. Norse, the only one left on the site, at least for the time being, peeking around and getting some control. Jerry getting pressured and is now dead, but Norse gets one of their own. It's the 1 versus 2, trying to find the second. Askel's low, but still alive. Not anymore. Downed and now out, as they will get taken out somehow, some way. Norks with the 1 versus 3. They pistol out and the headshot onto the buck. A question mark from Stacks, and you really have to put another one down. Somehow LFO, I don't think they pick up that round if really you peak that as a squad, and unfortunately for Hyferion5, they don't.
Then maybe, you see, this is why I don't make analogies, because Hyferion5 just end up losing. There's no correlation to it, but I can do some research. I don't. You know what? I, what do you say to that? Cause that's another clutch. That's another big clutch coming in from an LFO player, and it's happened way too many times. And Hyferion5 just let it slip again, and
Attackers need to locate and defuse
you
bombs.
know I don't.
I gotta say, I think that's the map over. I if you're looking at this, LFO are on the defensive side of their own map pick. They've completed the rotation and honestly embarrassed Hyferion5 in doing so.
Attackers have discovered the location of the
I
bomb.
don't know what Hyferion5 can do to change how they're playing. I think the whole old saying of, hey, you need to play as a more cohesive unit, you need to have that team play, yeah, that's outdone. I can say that all day. It doesn't give you a definite solution. I think it really comes down to them having that trade potential, and thus far they haven't shown it. The one round they picked up was an LFO blunder. I don't even think it was a deserved round. It was deserved in the fact that, yeah, they picked it up because they recognized the flaw in the LFO defense, and honestly, I think the LFO defense just picked the wrong site, but that just can't happen. And in the end, it does. Hyferion5 here, they have a mountain to climb, and at this point, it's one that rivals Mount Everest.
Now that's a good analogy. Can you send me like a list of analogies that I'll study?
Oh, I got you.
Thank God, because I struggle so much. I'll even put it on a sticky note and pin it to my computer screen. Well, no, you can't pin a sticky note to your computer, but you can stick it on there. But stick it, yeah. But I mean, there's not a lot I can really say for Hyferion5. What I would ask you, what can they do? Win out these last rounds to, yeah, that's it. But it's not as simple as just clicking heads. It's getting that trade potential. It's not just winning those gunfights. It's the lack of information, and then on top of that, LFO capitalizing off of Hyferion. They get caught out by these really weird flanks that you would expect from a team like LFO, or well, that you would expect from any team. Really, it doesn't matter if it's like a competitive team as Hyferion5 are themselves, or if it's like a ranked team. These are positions that these players should expect, and if they're not expecting it, and if they're getting caught out by it, then where are the drones? Where's the information? Where's the intel? Where is it? You have the Ion. Where are they? What's happening?
I was about to say they're not going to have the Iona for long, but they will. Prophet will take out Elegy, but there is a trade elsewhere as Norks does remove Divine. But as I say that, Prophet starts fragging yet again. Strepu's dead, as is Norse. Oh my goodness, you can't die to the same player in the same position on 3 different occasions. It's just the Pulse. 1 versus 4 in a massive clutch situation against 3 different fraggers. Stizzy alive, Askell alive but low, and Prophet fragging more than ever. It doesn't look like that Gemini is an actual person. It isn't, but, well, I mean, Jerry recognized it and, well, won't get a kill anyway. This is not looking good for the American op. Does get 1, but that's all he will get. Askell will kill him from behind, and Hyferion5 will put a 2nd on the board.
Jesus, you know what? I was gonna sit here and say the patience from the post, but he realized it was an Ayana, so no patience at all. But that's Hyferion5 grabbing around for themselves, and they are on the attack. So if they grab another one, then coming into their defensive halves, they're tied 3-3 with LFO, and LFO have to go in their attacks. But again, that was a good round coming in from Hyferion5, a lot better than what we saw, and it was the opposite of what we've said. It's the teamwork coming in, it's the intel gathering getting a lot better, it's the gunplay, you know, the trades working in their favors. If not trades, then the picks, you know, going in their way, and that's good for them coming into this round. They have to take that momentum and be able to into this last round before they are able to switch onto their defenses, and they're attacking dining reading, and that was the same site that LFO just did, and LFO's record on the site so far is won it once and they just lost it. So I mean, any predictions for this site on your behalf?
I think they're gonna win it. I do. They failed to do so last time, and I think that was just a little bit of overaggression and a lack of knowledge between the team. You knew that Prophet was sitting on White Window. You just did. Yet nobody communicated it, and 3 players walked to their demise. Of course, the first person didn't have that information. The second 2 should have and or did, and just did not act off of it. LFO, I think they're going to fall back to the defense that we saw back in round number 2 when they were successful here in reading and dining, or reading fireplace if you're going by technicalities. But you need to have that definitive hold that we saw back in round number 2, and right there, we just didn't. It has to have a change, and that change has to happen right now.
Oh. Okay, I mean, you know, there's no greater heart attacks than what we see. Because there are so many near misses and near contacts that never come into contact with one another. LG is gonna be the first person in contact with someone. He's gonna be left the worst for wear out of that gunfight, as he is on. I don't want to guess that HP because my telling is so bad. I don't know what that is. That looks like it's 65, 70.
Enough. It's somewhere around 69, so it's a nice amount of health. That's all I care about.
All right, 69. Great, love it. I didn't mean it like that. I'm so sorry. That's so bad. That's so inappropriate. There goes the nitro coming in from LG.
Oh
He's able to get the first kill this time on scale, and this round this could be the round for LFO like you predicted, but it could go in style for them. LG was the first one to get lit up, and he's able to get a kill first on this LFO team. Now, traded off by Prophet. What is he doing? Look at that! Stacks!
Oh my
Prophet
gosh.
able to get 3 kills. Now, fourth this time is Dizzy's hands, and it's left Strupu in the 1-4 situation. He has a minute and 15 left to go before Hyferion5 end up making an execution. He has a nitro cell in hand, but that's not enough to deal with all 4 of these players unless they stack up in the same spot like a bunch of wahoos. That's the first kill coming out from Strupu, and he slims it down to a V3. That's a nice headshot onto Stizzy. He has a player on white stairs and then a player planting and reading in a default spot. But he also has a player also watching the player plant. That's the fuck. But he's gonna come into contact with the player on white stairs. He gets the Mustberg down, and he's able to come into contact with another. He has a nitrous on hand. He's gonna get a kill with that. But he's not gonna get the kill onto Divine. He actually doesn't get a kill with the nitrous, so he doesn't get anything with it. Oh, he hit the chandelier. That's great.
He hit the chandelier. It would have hit, and that could have been the round, but in the end, it goes the way of Hyferion5. I was talking about them needing a 3-3 split, and they get just that. I think LFO threw that round. I'm sorry. They had the 4 versus 3. They had a massive advantage. Was that a 4 versus? Yeah, it was a 4 versus 3. They were looking good, and they just threw it away. I don't know about that one. Why jump out? Why have a player sit at the bottom of white? You don't need to peek Prophet. The white stairs rotate is not that important. There is a hatch you can fall down. There is a banister you can just jump over. No one cares about that spot in the map. But apparently LFO does, and Hyferion5 used it to the fullest advantage possible in 2 straight rounds. They followed the exact same player 6 times on the same place. Just think about that statistic. I'm just going to leave that and have that resonate with you and y'all who are watching. But Hyferion5 will head down to the bottom floor. An unsurprising decision from them. I thought they were going to go bar cocktail first, but again, it's kitchen cooking. You're going here anyway. It's one of those flip a coin. That's where you decide to go. They opt for the bottom floor.
Yeah, unlike what LFO did, they didn't throw a huge curveball because this is one of the common sites that's played by the defenders on Cafe. But I do want to talk about that last round. I want to kind of make not a joke, but I found it funny when the Maestro jumped out and it looked like he was trying to run away from the bullets instead of just shooting back. Like, I just thought that was funny. That's a joke that that a lot of people in the comp scene make about NA pros a lot of the times, that they don't shoot back. I just thought that was funny. It doesn't. You guys.
Hey,
don't have
it is in NA. It's Swing City, not much hit your headshots city. It's just Swing City, and everybody usually swings to their demise. But I mean, hey, make your decisions, I suppose. We will see LFO with another attack, and the last time out we saw them on offense, they had their issues, but so did Hyferion5, and they seemingly remedied them with honestly a lot of help from LFO. Way too much aggression and the lack of communication coming through yet again. Another issue I was talking about, but hopefully this top-down take works for them. Again, on today's episode of Surprising Absolutely Nobody, a team starts on the roof, makes their way through the red hatch, and will clear the top floor first. Unfortunately for LFO, it takes them over a minute to get into the building, but again, they're making some quick strides.
Oh god, what? Talk about quick stress. Kill for Strupp Profits. They're gonna trade him out as now. Well, man, count between the both teams, and I mean this LFO attack has been not slowed down. At least you see them moving in quickly on these positions above the site. It looks like last time when I watched the Hyferion5 play on Cafe, it's both, especially on Kitchen, both teams were attacking Bakery all the time. There was no players, or the teams didn't really make the decision to take vertical control like you usually see on Cafe. Both teams were really opting out for Bakery instead. This time you see it did become a map. You see LFO are looking to take vertical control, and you also saw this from Hy5 angles actually being established by the sledge, and also the positions being held by LFO. You have a player on white stairs, and you also have a player on brown. So they're going to be looking to push out this Jaeger who's behind this shield in Christmas. But the Flores runs into him with this drone, but not into the shield, as they have 35 seconds to go. They have to push this player out very, because if they let him persist in this position, it's not going to go well for him. The hash drop comes through, but not a single kill apart from the down from the stacks. The fuser's down, but not out. That's a kill for Profit. He grabs one. Jerry grabs another. That's another, this time from Oryx, as he was the player on brown stairs, able to flank onto that player in Jaeger. Now the Yokais are in play, but the plant is going down, as well as the smoke canisters are going down.
No, it's not. Oh no, they lose it.
That's it. That's the down coming in from the smoke grenades, and that's the Echo not even being... The Echo wasn't even needed in that position at all. It was the smoke grenades that came in clutch.
But most importantly, you still had the Yokais. You had that redundancy of defense from Hyferion5. And I think this is a little bit of readjustment from their previous Playday out. They lost to Nice, and they remedy it. They head to the bottom floor, and they have both the long holds in Christmas around towards the top floor, where there were 3 players, by the way. And they also have that remedied situation of locking down the site later on in the round. They had the Echo available. They had those toxic babes available for Autumn as well. And, well, in that case, they had the round in hand. It took LFO way too long. You were talking about stalling out. Stropu dies, and everybody forgets that the goal of the game is to shoot your opponents and that you have teammates to do so. They took a little bit too long. Yeah, they got 2 frags, but that's all they could muster. And, well, in the end, it's all they got. Hyferion5 take the lead here on Cafe.
Yeah, they had good map control. They had the vertical positions established. I don't know. They just seemed to. They got the first pick as well, but it was beat out by Profit, and after that, they just didn't know. It looked like LFO just didn't really know what to do, and that's a bit odd. I don't really know. That was a bit odd. And also the fact that it took them so long to get third floor control and to clear out third floor. And then also, I don't really know about that attack. It was just, everything about it was odd, from the clear to how long it took them establishing their positions on those vertical angles, and also establishing angles themselves. But they have a chance to atone for it in this round, because you don't have a lot of vertical play. Well, you do if you bring the buck, or if you special sledge, but you don't have a lot of vertical play on this side, which is going to be the third of Cafe.
Wow, another surprising round where LFO start on the top floor and repel on the west side. I gotta say, this is really shocking behavior from them. Not stuff we expect here in the booth. Apologies for everybody who doesn't natively speak English. This is sarcasm. I'm being sarcastic. Everybody does this every single time. This is the main reason why people don't like casting Cafe. A spoiler alert for everybody who's new here. Stizzy is going to go into Pixel and really lock it down. You have this Vulcan Shield available, and you have a Pixel Peak available, but it just doesn't hit, and this is where you get overwhelmed. You have to worry about so many different angles, so much utility being thrown in. One magnet will be thrown out, but that's really all you can put through to allow you to gain some control back. Stacks not fragging like we saw back on Oregon. That's one of the main difficulties we've seen from LFO, but I really think LFO need to make some strides on towards the site, and to gain some map control, they've done anything but. Nort's the first one to fall, and this is not the opener that the attackers need.
Not at all. I mean, Nort has actually had a pretty decent game so far or pretty decent map so far for LFO. Had a pretty okay-ish map on Oregon, if I can remember right, but unfortunately, it's not just up to him, it's also up to Stacks, it's also up to every single player on this LFO team. Stacks getting into a gunfight there, but missing some very key shots onto the head player in bathroom. I think that was Stizzy on this Twomai, was in bathroom himself. And again, it's that first pick working against LFO that causes them to slow down, and even when they get the first pick, if one of their players go down, they seem to slow down, but that's Elegy responding when they pick this time onto Prophet, and that was the same player who's been a bane in the side of LFO these past few rounds. That's now down and out for the game. Struppu able to get a pick through smoke grenades as well, and that's Autumn to be down. Now another kill this time for Struppu, as Skell able to get a trade, and it's now up to Skell and Divine. Now just Divine by himself, and he's able to get a down, but Struppu is going to be able to punish him on his own rotation. And that's a good round this time coming in from LFO. They take it convincingly, and I mean, in a way,
I can't decipher who's going to win this one, B. I'm sorry, I can't.
That's
LFO on the attack has been spotty to say the least. The bottom floor looked honestly disgusting. You lose one player and your offense falls apart. The top floor looks very clean. You lose an opening player and then you just pick up the round with seemingly no more flaws. Hyferion5 at that same point looks like they have a little bit of a bipolar defense. Stacks is going to make a little bit of a transition. They're going to go from the Hibana to the Ying. This is an interesting decision where we're not going to see hard breaches being brought at all by LFO. I don't know if Ying has that hard breach tool available. I don't know if you decide to bring it on this attack, but the possibility's there, and you have to expect it. There's no way you bring 0 hard breach in any site here on Cafe, right?
not a chance, unless she brings hard utility. Even then, hard utility isn't gonna be enough if they plan to push like what Cigar Lounge or Cigar Shop, or even just this whole west side in general. If they decide to push this west side in general, having no hard breach is a real kicker for them. It's a real bane in the side. Even having just like what 2 hard breaches, if Ying, I think Ying does have the hard breach utility, so if she decides to bring them, having 2 hard breach utility isn't enough to break down the setup on a Cafe defense. Not from the west side. But, I don't know. I don't think they're going to be pushing this west side unless but it looks like they're going to be maybe opting out for east side take, or maybe a more direct take onto White Stairs, which is the east side.
I think LFO need to, on this specific site, keep what's working. You're going to see the Ying not bring hard breaches at all. That means nobody has the ability to go through reinforced walls, which is a little bit of a challenge for this attack, where you rely on that a decent bit, but it may not matter. Ying's just throwing down smokes. I think we're going to see a rush here. In goes one Candela, in comes the peak as well. The shots through, they miss. No, the Maestro wins the gunfight, and that's the round over. There, right, done and dusted. Nordics does get one back, but that's all they will get. Elegy in a 1 versus 3 after getting 1 kill themselves. It's possible, but with an AR-33 and a walking straight into a Mossberg crossfire, Hyferion5 will take the lead right back.
Yeah, they completely did the opposite of my plan. I didn't think they would actually rush Skylight. I knew that was a possibility. Don't get me wrong, but I didn't think they would do it because rushing Skylight is ill-advised for anybody. It doesn't matter again what level player you are. It's ill-advised because that's usually the defenders are peeking anyways. So I thought they would rush like
I
white
have
stairs windows.
I have to say the question is why do you only throw in one Candela especially
Yeah.
when it goes in towards freezer? Let's
Attackers
assume
need to
one
locate
person's
and defuse
freezer.
as
You
many bombs
haven't
as they can.
taken care of new balcony, heaven, or the long angle across from the bar side of play. Or sorry, from the cocktail side of play. So you deal with one angle. Great job, congratulations. You still have at least 3 to deal with. The smoke already dealt with the freezer. There's no need to Candela that off. The Maestro was not blind in the slightest. The Candela honestly was ineffective in all totality. And I gotta say, that's a little bit of a botched push. The Ying was a good play. The Rush
10
was a
seconds
good
left.
call. It just wasn't executed.
Yeah, that's
5 seconds
the
left.
thing. Like I wasn't like the thing is that like I said, I didn't think that I knew that the Skylight was a possibility. Uh, but the team has to be it has to be very well. They did it very early, so I can't say it has to be very early because that's exactly what LFO did. But it was like you said, it wasn't really the lack of utility usage. It was the way that she used her utility and also the lack of using her utility as well. She only used one Candela. I think she threw down one smoke only, and then she just jumped in and she was like, that shit fooled them. It didn't. It didn't. It did not fool them. And Hyferion5 were ready for that rush, and it's unfortunate for LFO because that could have been very entertaining to watch, but it wasn't because Hyferion5 dealt with it really, really well. Nitro Soul coming out from the scale, and he's not going to get a single piece of damage on one of these players, nor is he going to get a single pick, because in order to get a pick, you have to deal some damage, and he doesn't deal any, so he doesn't get anything. You see him also rotating down red stairs, actually, so anybody who's going to be pushing through small bakery, right stairs, and not going to be able to do it without contact with the scale. But Strapu is actually going to take damage elsewhere, and I think he actually took it from, it looks like Hyferion5 have a vertical hold, heavy vertical presence, as well as, you know, site presence
Bomb
too.
located by
And with vertical presence above kitchen, you have the hole in that small little freezer area, that pantry side or what. And I think that's where Strapu got hit from, because they also have holes in favor. You saw the hole, you see the holes that Hyferion5 have made, and that's what the drones are calling out for LFO.
I like the ideas here for LFO. I think they found both yokais. If they can deal with it, I think that's the round right there. Hyferion5 dealt a lot, or really relied a lot, on their ability to lock down the plant. And we'll see them try to do just that yet again. They do still have that roam presence up top. Askell on the Mozzie doing just that. But I don't think LFO's too concerned with it. Divine, looking down from above, won't even get anything. In goes a Toxic Bay, but it will only get one. Stacks does get one of their own, and Askell's down. That roam I was talking about is dealt with, and completely just the same. Divine on the far side, and Autumn, the only two left alive. Autumn throws into Toxic Babe. That will be late if it does want to deal with the plant. It will do damage, but it's now just Strapu and Stacks. Stacks is down. Stacks will die in the end, but Strapu's still alive. 1 versus 2. Divine close range. Autumn far. There's the shots through, but Autumn with the triple kill on the round, and the finish that will come in onto Stacks, solidifying the quad kill, solidifying Hyferion5 on towards match point.
Need to protect the diffuser. Position compromised.
You can't see my face, but my mouth was open that whole round. I couldn't believe that actually was a...
Defenders disable the diffuser.
There's one position that you want your smoke to be in, is in a clutch situation. And it's unfortunate for LFO that it had to be that situation where clutch is up in. Some really good smoke plays coming in from Autumn and also the SMG-11 in his own in his favor and in his team's favor to claim the match point in the round for his teams. It looks like we're heading into what looks to be another draw for Hyferion5 and a time in the very first draw of this LFO. Is there anything LFO can do to bring these 2 rounds back in their favor? But besides just the simple stuff like clicking heads and teamwork and all that stuff, like they're attacking Reading Room Fireplace, and this time instead of bringing Buck, they bring the Monty. What do you think their game plan is with this lineup, especially with the
Attackers
IQ
need to
coming into
locate and
play?
defuse bombs.
What is their game plan? What do you think their game plan is on this?
I think if you're looking at what LFO has to do, they're well aware that Hyferion5 has won the previous 2 rounds. They've been paying attention to the scoreboard just as we have, so they know they have the Hyferion5 specifically has to go to either dining reading or dining mining. Those are your 2 options, and nobody intentionally goes dining mining. I'm sticking with the fact that LFO mispicked that earlier. I don't think that was an intentional choice, but nonetheless, they move on. Hyferion5 going dining reading here. I think you're looking at maybe a rush. I think that's what you're looking at. A Montaigne-based rush. They may just hold W through this south balcony. It wouldn't surprise me if that's exactly what we see. That, or they're going to play more as a team, and they're going to have the trade potential about them. They were running into the exact same situations that Hyferion5 were, where you didn't have that trade potential. You didn't have that more cohesive unit that you should have as a squad. And hopefully here with the IQ, with the Finca, and most importantly with the Montaigne, they're going to change that right now.
IQ is a bit of a, well, no, I wouldn't say a weird pick. I wouldn't even say, I was going to say a wild card pick. That's not even close to a wild card pick. It's not like a ying, but speaking of wild cards and just everything that just doesn't, make sense. Strapu able to get the first pick this time onto Autumn. Autumn being very critical to the clutch for Hyferion5 in the situation. Now, not going to be able to clutch any round up because he's going to get the first one down and out for his team. A good pick this time coming in from Strapu as it puts his team into it. What the hell was that? They just walked past the player in Cocktail, and that's Prophet able to get a pick with the Nitro Soul on Strapu. Oh, that's a bit careless. Prophet running into the waiting arms of LSG's. LSG's able to get 2 kills in a row for himself, and it's now left Hyferion5 in a 4v situation. This site is to hold in itself, but it's going to be made a lot harder. 2 of them against players, not only 1, as Eskel is the last player standing in bar. He's going to take the first pick this time onto Jerry, just carelessly dropping down new hatch Balk, and it's now a 3v1 for the side of LFO. Diffuser's going down as well, so this should be a round.
Attackers are activating.
Askel's not in a good position. Holographic, and it won't even get anything. Nortz with the unorthodox sight on the spear, but the kill nonetheless. LFO are going to send us to yet another round number 12. We will complete regulation in both maps, in full completion, but will we go to overtime this time around? If we do, it's going to be a complete set of deja vu, just this time a mirrored set, as Hyferion5 were the ones to get 2 straight rounds back on Oregon, and they did it on the defensive side. If LFO pull off this round, especially on Bar Cocktail, where they've had difficulties already, I'm not going to lie to you, I'm going to be very, very surprised.
Yeah, 6 pick coming off from the IQ onto the floor as LG was very key to them winning that round last time. He got 2 picks on the white stairs from Hyferion5 players just running past the white stairs like crackheads and feeding the kills to LG there. And this time, instead of opting, keeping that IQ himself, he's going to go onto the forest, which on a site like 3rd floor where there's a bunch of shield play and there's a lot of power positions being held by the defenders, a forest is, I think, a really good choice and a much better pick over the IQ, where you have those Rotero drones that can destroy, a bunch of utility at a time.
So, 1B, it's time for predictions. Are we going to overtime, or are we ending it here, and are we ending it in another Hyferion5 tie?
I don't predict things because I So
Nope, nope, you're predicting. You don't have a
I
choice.
5 seconds
Oh,
to go.
You don't have a choice. Well, okay, you're not predicting. Trippin in the background will. By the way, for everybody who's new here, Trippin is the owner of Talent League. He's awesome. Also running our production and observing. He's pretty cool. Go follow him on Twitter because, yeah, I said so. But Hyferion5, Trippin said overtime. I think Hyferion5 close it out here. I don't know if LFO can lock it down as they did last round. They don't have the site pressure that they did before. And if I'm looking at the way LFO need to play this, they don't have the operator lineup to do so. They have the Flores, yeah, and the Finka may just help with some frags, both in terms of kills in German and, well, frag grenades. But I don't know if this is looking like a LFO round. I think we're just going to finish things off in regulation here.
it's really dependent on the guns and also the plays coming in from Hyferion5. They end up feeding the kills like they did last time against LFO, because LFO didn't really do things special in particular. I mean, man, you talk about special, that's special right there, getting a nasty headshot onto Prophet and almost catching another player. This player, Stizzy, not just any player, but he's going to be hiding behind this shield in his elbow position in Cigar Lounge. And wow, that was a nasty kill from Trouble. And he's put his team into a really good position here. They're taking control of Cigar Shop and Cigar Lounge. But you also have a player on the side of Hyferion5, I don't know outlines, and I think that's the Jaeger of Eskel, who's below in mining. So he can probably catch a player off guard, or he could jump out, or he could flank. He has plenty of options to do here on his defense. But Strapu is going to sniff him out, so he has no more options. The only option he has is to die, and that's exactly what happens. Stizzy now in this position by himself in this in this white corridor, as it's named on campus, holding this position against three hungry LFO players. You have the Finka who's in that cigar lounge, or in that piano position by the red stairs wall, and you also have plenty of players on New Balk and also a player in Cigar Shop. So Stizzy has a lot to lose. He has plenty of action to face.
Oh no, but he's not aware of it. In comes a push. What happens? LFO send us to overtime. Elegy just holds W through. The Flores will come through and will send us to OT. Trippin was correct. I've been proven wrong. A shocker from LFO. They just hold W on. It was a rush, but a delayed one at that. And this time around, they gained the control they need, but most importantly, now they're back on the attack, and we may just have to do it all over again. This time, it's down to kitchen service and kitchen cooking. Hyferion5 on their defensive side, they are flawless, 2-0 to be specific, and they're bringing a very, very replicatable setup that they brought before. The Echo, the Smoke, the Mute, the Mozzie, and the Jaeger, the Mute Mozzie combo, the Smoke Echo combo, and then just the Jaeger because you can kill people. I gotta say, this is looking pretty good for Hyferion5 on the bottom floor.
Yeah, I mean, that was a Strapu round. I mean, not really a snipper round, but that was a good team. I wouldn't say team round. You know, I keep contradicting. I want to say that was a good start for LFO. It was a good start for Strapu. Got those really key picks off of those Hyferion5 players. You know, in those positions where Hyferion5 will, like, you had one player that was, I think it was, he killed two players in the same position. There was a player, there were two of them were mining at the same time. And if Strapu weren't there, that round would have looked a lot different, because those flanks would have came. There would have been nobody to supervise those flanks, and then LFO would have had to let this map go, and it would have been another 5. Strapu able to take that round in his hands. Well, not in his hands, but he got 2 kills in his favor. And it was to his team's advantage. And those 2 kills really energized his team and motivated his team to, to keep going with that energy, that momentum. That's the word. To keep that momentum going in their favor, and hopefully it drags itself into this round. So, as it looks to be a full bakery push coming in from LF, it doesn't look like they're taking vertical positions from above, it just looks like they're pushing into bakery. But
Attackers dropped the diffuser.
two kills coming out for them, but now a pick, this time coming out from Stizzy, as it's now just a 4v3 to Echo. Come still in play. Probably not anymore. Oh my god, this is a fast round for LFO, and yo, wow. What?
Blink and you miss it. LFO are on to match point and series victory point. You, again, blink and you miss it. I look away. I want to get a drink and I can't. Stax is going to call a pause. Isn't Stax on LFO? I was like, wait a second. Stax isn't on Hyferion5. They're going to call a pause here. I don't like Hyferion5's chances now. LFO have their choice of site. They are on the defensive side, which historically is the advantageous one, and they can choose to just not peek. I think if LFO go any site they want and just don't get over aggressive, they win Cafe and they win the match.
Yeah, it's a bit. I don't really know what to say about that. This is actually going to be the first loss that Hyferion5 have suffered throughout this whole season. Like, they've only had draws, they only had the one, they've never lost. So if they lose this map right here and right now, this is their first loss ever of the whole season so far.
You think it's gonna happen?
Yeah. Shit, I should have predicted it, bro.
He said, yeah, Hyferion5's gonna
bro.
win. Alrighty, we're gonna have another tied game here. Hyferion5 are going to win here on Cafe. I can just predict it now. If it happens, it's 1B's fault. I love having this freedom because even if I'm wrong, yeah, I'm wrong. It is what it is. But
can we cut that part out?
yeah, we're just gonna edit it out. It'll be gone in post. No worries. I gotta say though, I think Hyferion5 are in such a massive disadvantage though. LFO are in such a good spot, and they're going to opt to go kitchen. I want to get your opinion here. I think it's a decent choice, but they really could have gone anywhere. They're going to try and replicate Hyferion5's defense. Bring the Echo, bring the smoke, but this time, go for more utility denial rather than information denial. No mute Mozzie rather than the my Jaeger, and they bring a Thunderbird just so they can possibly get overzealous and still have some health in the backline.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about Kitchen, both of these teams, at least from what I'm watching in this matchup so far, watching the same flow, but
Attackers are to defuse a bomb.
Kitchen has been it's been a 50-50 site where we've seen the defense win it a couple of times, but we've also seen the attack win it a couple of times where, like, it looks, I can't really say this is a defender-sided site at the moment. It just seems it's very, for both of these teams, on whether or not they're on attack or defense. So it's very hard to call this one. I think this is a free. No, sorry, I thought it was a freezer. The outlines crap out of me. But it looks like they're going to do a bakery take, just like what LFO did last time. And I mean, I said this about Hyferion5 on their last day against Nice Gaming. They didn't really focus on taking vertical angles, and I mean, they don't have to. Profits going to get a kill like that, and that's on Elegy. Elegy has been very key to the success of LFO on this map. Not when you compare him to Strupple and when you Norix, he's been very key to a lot of their round in this matchup, and that's a big loss for LFO.
Struppo having some difficulties shooting a minute amount of information. Yeah, you're supposed to hit those, by the way. Struppo also not playing the mute, so they don't have a C4 to try and deal with this peek through, and they won't need to. Mossberg is brought out, but Stax gets in front of that nade coming through. The Iona peek doesn't, and the Habana will. Struppo gets a kill. Stax with another. LFO looking to lock it out here. 90 seconds now under that left on the clock. Aska with one back. The Ionic now coming through with a frag, but only one. It's down to Stizzy. 1 versus 3. Another clutch situation. Hyferion5 have put all the pressure on their Flores/Maverick player, and unfortunately for Stizzy, unable to meet the challenge. 6 and 9 so far in this one. And your best bet grab some health from the Thunderbird you can see on the left and possibly just run around and try and get some frags. Other than that, it's not looking good. There's the health. There's a frag. Norts is down. Jerry, full health. Stripu, anything but. There are still Kona stations available, but there is information on the smoke just the same. Shots just barely miss. One shot and he does die, but Jerry is still alive, and this is such a difficult situation, especially when you flash yourself. Don't do that.
Oh no. I mean,
Yeah. Wumby, I'm not gonna lie to you. This one looks all but over. 20 seconds on the clock. Yeah, he's got diffuser, but he has to peek, and I think they have all the information they do need. Final 15 seconds, and the push is bound to come through, but it is stopped where it stands. LFO replicate their win on Oregon. They win 8-6, and they put another win on the board. They will tie up this Hyferion5 side in the standings, and they look good doing it.
you know what? Positives for this matchup for Hyferion5. It's not a draw. Negatives. It's a loss. It's their first loss of the season. But they can't and again, it's on Cafe, and I said this. I don't even know why they let Cafe go. Because they didn't look that impressive on Cafe last week. I mean, it was much better today. That's all, but like it wasn't good enough for them to against a team that's below them in the, who I think is now I want to say above them in the standing.
Yeah, that's we're looking at the standings right now. We have it in front of us. LFO is just barely above Hyferion5 just because of head-to-head. Both teams are actually -2 in terms of maps, but it's bad. It's not good, to say the least. They are tied at 9 points. Baker's Boys are at 7, just below in 8th place. Ignite at 6. They only have their 2 wins. And Structure, they are 0 and 9. Are they just not here? Yeah, I see forfeits. I think they're just not playing games. Okay, I was very concerned, but there is a 2-way tie for first. I do just want to quickly point that out. QVG Academy and Machine Soldiers Academy. The 2 Academy squads are dead even at 16 points apiece. It's 5 wins and a draw for QVG, 4 wins and 4 draws for Machine Soldiers. That's a couple more games played, but still relatively even. Before we close things out here, Wumby, do you have any final thoughts?
I feel like I said it enough. I feel like I said enough because at this, because I said, look, it was positives. No draws, man. You know what I mean? Good job.
Yeah. That's
It's a
unfortunately
loss, and it
for
sucks.
Yeah, unfortunately for Hyferion5, they drop both maps. Oregon, their own map pick, ended 8-6. Cafe, their opponents, ended 8-6 just the same, but neither of them in their favor. They drop 0-2 and will drop down to 7th in the standings, tied up with LFO, but just below because of head-to-head. But if you're looking for some Talent League action, you still have some more tomorrow. And speaking of which, this cool dude gets to cast some more of it. I was talking about QVG Academy. They will play the number 4 ranked team Wanted at 8 p.m. Central European Time, 2 p.m. Eastern Time tomorrow, right back here on Talent League Rainbow Six Siege. We'll see you then.
Repel angles are near. Oh, Matrix! What a shot! Maybe two.
Axis still down. He could even is on a silver HP. His health bar is flashing red for some reason. Because there you go. And then
They know he's there, but they don't seem to react. Typical finds a double up. No, there, but no reaction.